Okay, so there's this website that I found called 16 Personalities. It's a free personality test, which is what I need in my life. Fast and easy, takes less than 12 minutes. Be yourself, answer honestly, even if you don't like the answer. We'll see about that. Complete it all. Essentially, what it does is it obviously registers your personality, works out what sort of person you are, and then compares it to other people's personalities. So we could find out from this test that I have the same personality as Nelson Mandela, for example. Who knows? I thought I'd give it a go, try it out, and let you know. Let's take the test together. Fingers crossed that it comes out okay, otherwise this video will not see the surface of day. I'm kind of nervous to do this, you know. You enjoy vibrant social events with lots of people. I agree to an extent. Like, I still really enjoy, I like big social events if I'm with enough people that I know. I can't just go to an event where I don't know anyone there. I have to be with people that I already know. I would say this one here, because as much as I do like social events, lots of people, I really also enjoy a select group of mates, quite a small group of mates, just doing something casual and chill. So I'm gonna say this one, because I don't mind it, I do actually enjoy it in the right circumstances, so this one. You often spend time exploring unrealistic yet intriguing ideas. I do that a lot of the time. I would say very much agree on this. The amount of ideas I have that are way too ambitious and I can't do all on my own is ridiculous. So I would definitely say that I agree on that. Your travel plans are more likely to look like a rough list of ideas and a detailed itinerary. I would say I agree to this extent. If I need to, I will make an itinerary. Actually, I've never made an itinerary, but I would always plan stuff. Like if we're doing a journey, I'll plan the journey. But to what extent, it's nowhere near the level that some of the people do it. So I would say actually on that, yeah, that one. You often think about what you should have said in a conversation long after it's taken place. Agree. All the time. The amount of times I'm on a phone call with anyone, be it business or mainly business actually, where they say, have you got any questions? I always say, well, I don't right now, but I might. You don't know me, I'll probably, as soon as this phone call's over, I'll have loads of questions. It happens every time. If I'm ever in a like debate or be it argument, which is very rare, I will always think, or like a standoffish moment, I will always think of the perfect line to say about half an hour after the events actually happened. That is me all over. If your friend is sad about something, your first instinct is to support them emotionally, not try to solve their problem. Do you know what? I would disagree. I'm more of a problem solver. I think I would, rather than comfort them, it sounds really bad, but I think rather than comfort them, I think the way of comforting them is helping them to solve the problem. So I'm gonna go here on that one. Is that bad? I feel awful. People can rarely upset you. It depends. If it's people that I know, that can upset me. If it's people I don't know, there's not a lot they can say or do that will upset me. So I would say here. You often rely on other people to be the ones to start a conversation and keep it going. Yes, I agree on this. It depends what sort of situation I'm in, how old the people are that I'm with. If I've got this thing in my head where I always assume that I'm the youngest person out of that group, even though I'm not, so I always become like the sort of shy one. Yeah, I'd agree. If you have to temporarily put your plans on hold, you make sure it is your top priority to get back on track as soon as possible. Yes, I agree. You rarely worry if you made a good impression on someone you met. I would mildly disagree. No, I do. I rarely worry. I do worry sometimes, but it says if you rarely worry. I would agree. I don't really worry about what people think of me. It would be a challenge for you to spend the whole weekend all by yourself without feeling bored. Oh, the thing is, I could do it, but then I'd go on my PlayStation and stuff and play with my mates online or something like that. I'd find things to keep me busy, definitely, but I would disagree on that. I can always find things to do on a weekend. You're more of a detail orientated than a big picture person. I would disagree. I think I'm more of a big picture person. You are very affectionate with people you care about. Yes, I would agree. Hopefully Diane can back me up on that one. You have a careful and methodical approach to life. Yes, I agree. You are still bothered by mistakes you made a long time ago. Yes, I agree. At parties and similar events, you can mostly be found further away from the action. I would say middle ground there, because there's times where it's all how I'm feeling. There's times where you've seen me, I get well and truly stuck into a party, and there's times where I'm like, do you know what? I'm not feeling it, and I don't get involved at all. You often find it difficult to relate to people who let their emotions guide them. Agree. When looking for a movie to watch, you can spend ages browsing the catalogue. Agree. Netflix, you're my number one thing for that. You stay calm under a lot of pressure. Yeah, do you know what? To a mild sense, I would agree. There's some things where I can keep things under control. I've been in some pretty intense pressurized situations like live television, for example, and I've managed to keep my cool. I've not freaked out, so I've been okay. So I would say yes. I've maybe even bumped that up one. I would say I've bumped that one. There we go. When in a group of people you don't know, you have no problem jumping right into conversation. I would strongly disagree. I'm awful in those situations. When people meet me for the first time, I am quite shy and timid, and I will never be the one to usually start a conversation because I'm so worried about what to talk about. I overthink it all. But then those same people, like 3 months into knowing me, would have seen a completely different Joe, if that makes sense. Once I become comfortable with someone and get out my shell a bit more, Waitress is a great example. The show that I'm in at the moment. When I first joined, I was quite quiet. I felt like the new kid in school, and I'm not very good at being, especially being around people with big personalities, and you know, in the theatre world, it's hard to sort of find your feet and stuff. But now, you ask the people at Waitress now what I'm like, they would maybe change their minds and give you a completely different answer. So yeah, meeting new people and jumping around a conversation, I struggle. And sometimes it gives us an impression that I'm non-approachable when it's not the case. Like, I'm always approachable. I'm always like happy to meet people. So I get so scared about meeting new people and becoming comfortable around that. When you sleep, your dreams tend to be bizarre and fantastical. 100% agree. Some of the stuff Diane, she doesn't dream. Bless her. She's missing out. Even this morning, I had the craziest, weirdest, strangest dreams. So yes, definitely agree on that one. In your opinion, is it sometimes okay to step on others to get ahead in life? I disagree. How much disagree, I don't know. I would say middle ground. I disagree on that. I think that you should always do it fairly. If you want success in life, you should always do it the fair way round. Things don't go your way, don't stoop to a certain level that you wouldn't normally go to and wouldn't be proud of. The day where I think, you know what, I've officially made it and done everything I wanted to do, I would love to look back on that and think I did it all the right way and there was nothing bad about it. I just did everything how I wanted to do it and did it my way. In the words of Frank Sinatra, I did it my way. You are dedicated and focused on your goals, only rarely getting sidetracked. I would say to an extent, I'll go middle ground on that, because sometimes I can get dedicated and focus on goals, but I get distracted too easily. I do. I get sidetracked onto other bigger, and sometimes more important things, but I'm always finding something new to do. I might even go disagree. I'm going to disagree on that one. If you make a mistake, you tend to start doubting yourself, your abilities, or your knowledge. I would agree. I always think in my head, you're going to be fine, it's going to be really good. I always think what would be the best possible outcome. And then if something doesn't go right, I then flip and go to the worst possible outcome and think, well, this is it, I'm not supposed to do this. And I don't think in my head, if you want to be good at something, you don't just pick it up like that. It takes time and work and dedication to get good at something. When at a social event, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know. 100% agree with this. If I go to an event or a party and my mates are there, I won't go with them on my own. I don't go to events or parties on my own to meet new people. I need to be around my solid mates group. Otherwise, I just won't go. I'd rather just hang out with mates in our own little thing. If people come and join us later on, and new people, absolutely fine. But I've got my mates, you know? I'm always up for meeting new people, and I remember once I posted a status on Facebook saying that I want to make some new friends, which to my old friends was really offensive. Sorry, old friends. Something that I wanted to work on was to be able to find it easier to meet new people. Quite introverted as a person, but a lot of my friends I hang out with are extroverted to the point where I love hanging around my friends because they are like the gateway for me meeting new people, because they're so outgoing and go and meet new people. You usually lose interest in a discussion when it gets philosophical. Disagree. I love philosophical chats. You would never let yourself cry in front of others. 12 million people have watched me cry on television, so I would disagree. You feel more drawn to the places with a bustling and busy atmosphere than to more quiet, intimate ones. I disagree on this. Middle ground disagree. Sometimes it's all down to how I'm feeling. Sometimes I will be up for it. Sometimes, more than sometimes, I enjoy just chilling out in quiet places. You like discussing different views and theories on what the world could look like in the future. I agree. I love that kind of stuff. I love thinking about the future and what's going to happen in the future. I think that's partly as to why we got to do this as the job right now, is because we sort of were a bit forward thinking and were with the times and just got with the times. When it comes to making life-changing choices, you mostly listen to your heart rather than your head. I would disagree. I think I listen to my head more than my heart sometimes, and I want to switch up a little bit. I think as of next year, I'm going to listen to my heart more than my head. 2019 has been the year of listening to my head rather than my heart. 2020 will be the year of just going with my gut and going with my heart on things that I just want to do and give a go. I think this year has been a massive year for me in learning like things that I want to do in life and giving things a go. And I think I'm going to continue that, but just go with like my heart a bit more. Don't know if that even made sense. Next, you cannot imagine yourself dedicating your life to the study of something that you cannot see, touch, or experience. I don't know, because I wanted to be an archaeologist when I was younger, and that is kind of dedicating your life to trying to piece together the past, which you can't see, touch, or experience. So I would go middle ground on that one. You usually prefer to get your revenge rather than forgive. Massively disagree. Sometimes I wouldn't forgive, I just don't ever forget, if that makes sense. I think I've become very good at sort of, if someone tries to do me over or take advantage of me, I won't let them know that I know that, but I know it. I distance myself from that person, very, very slowly distance myself from that person or group, and I wouldn't ever get revenge. Even though sometimes I really want to, I always have a moment in my head where I speak to myself and think, by doing that, you're adding oxygen to the fire, you're making the fire grow bigger, there's no point, it's gonna cause an argument or a confrontation. You're better off just very slowly distancing yourself from that person or group and doing your own thing. But I do forgive people, I always give people the benefit of the doubt sometimes, but you know, one chance is enough. Don't give people another chance. If they do it again, they're not worth your time. You often make decisions on a whim. I would say yes I do. A lot of the decisions that I've made this year and the things that I've done this year have been on a whim of like, do you know what? I'm just gonna give it a go and see what happens. The time you spend by yourself often ends up being more interesting and satisfying than the time you spend with other people. I'm gonna weakly disagree, purely because like, I'm more than happy to be on my own and get my own stuff done, and I will get a lot of work done and can get creative and think of some great ideas on my own, but it's not as satisfying as being with other people. There's something about that teamwork ethic and being around other like-minded people that really butters my egg roll. You often put special effort into interpreting the real meaning or the message of a song or movie. I would agree. I like to sort of delve into the lyrics of songs and movies. I like things like Shutter Island and Inception and other movies. I do like to sort of decipher it a bit more. And if I'm watching a film and someone's on their phone, it irritates me. I'm like, come on, I need you to understand the story so we can talk about it afterwards. You always know exactly what you want. Disagree massively. I never know what I want. It changes on a weekly basis. That's the thing with having a job like this, you don't know what you want. Where's the end point? There isn't an end point. That's why it can be stressful, it can really toy the head. Every year, even month, the end goal changes. The goalposts are always moved, wider and narrower. It's tricky, so I never know what I want. You rarely think back on the choices you made and wonder what could have done differently. No, I would weakly disagree. I do think back quite a lot and think if I did things differently, would it have been different? If I explored things earlier, a lot of time I wish I just got on things quicker. A lot of time I'd have an idea to do something and I wouldn't just go through that and do it, and then I'd see someone else do it, like weeks later or months later or even years later. I'm like, I was sitting on that idea for so long, I didn't act on it. You're stupid, Joe. When in public place, you usually stick to quieter or less crowded areas. Agree, massively. You tend to focus on present realities rather than future possibilities. I would weakly disagree. Actually I'll go middle disagree. I like to think of the future a lot more maybe than the present, which I think is the wrong thing to do. I think it's better to stay in the present, take things as it comes, but have a little dip into the future. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. I would go weakly agree. I just don't think, how are you thinking like that? Like, yeah, I say weakly agree. When starting to work on a project, you prefer to make as many decisions up front as possible. Disagree. When you know someone thinks highly of you, you also wonder how long it will be until they become disappointed in you. I disagree. I don't ever really think that. I try not to think about that. You feel comfortable just waking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. Oh, sorry, you feel comfortable just walking up, not waking up, that'd be weird. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. I disagree, middle ground, because I always think people that I find interesting, for example, is David Attenborough. Got to meet him very recently. There's the proof right there. And I would have loved to have struck up a conversation with him, but in my head, I always worry about, they've probably been approached hundreds of times in one day. They get asked the same questions day in, day out. So with me, people saying, how did you get into YouTube, and asking the same old questions. And I don't want to be that guy. I've kind of been there in a way of being asked the same questions and asked the same thing. And it does get repetitive, and it does get a bit draining. I don't want to be that guy to someone else, someone that I look up to. So unless the conversation was completely random and a bit of a breath of fresh air for them, oh my God, that's a huge wasp. Good lordy lord. Then I wouldn't really do that. So I would disagree. You often drift away into daydreaming about various ideas or scenarios. Every single day I am daydreaming about ideas and scenarios, mainly scenarios in my head of what could and couldn't happen. You look after yourself first and others come second. I would disagree. I think maybe I should look after myself more, but I do put a lot of other people before myself. Even just thinking about other people, I think about a lot of other people before myself. Even when you have planned a particular daily routine, you usually end up doing what you feel like at any given moment. Agree. The amount of times I'll put a schedule out being like, Joe, you're gonna get up at 7 AM and get all this done before 9. Doesn't happen. I get up and I think, actually, something else has come up that I wanna work on instead. So I definitely agree. Your mood can change very quickly. I'd agree. I think it can change quite quickly from different emotions, mainly like nice ones, but not every now and then I'll get frustrated with myself or something like that. But the mood can change quickly. Actually, no, do you know what? Yeah, okay, I'll agree. I'm being honest. You often contemplate the reasons for human existence or the meaning of life. Yeah, I agree, I do think about that a lot, you know. You often talk about your own feelings and emotions. Yes, I agree. I think it's really important too. I always have done, mainly to like my sister. As you know, if you don't know already, every now and then I do talk to a therapist, which is great. So yeah, I think it's really important to talk about feelings and emotions. You have got detailed education or career development plans stretching several years into the future. I'll go middle ground. I don't really know. No, I'll go agree. I agree. I've got plans for the future. You rarely dwell on your regrets. I would disagree. I think I do. There's not many, but I still, like, when I think about like stupid things I've done in the past, it does really annoy me that I did do things stupid, like try and steal a digger. Anyway, moving on from that, spending time in a dynamic atmosphere with lots of people around quickly makes you feel drained or need a getaway. I disagree. I like that. Being around the hustle and bustle sometimes actually motivates me and spurs me on to do really cool things. You see yourself as more of a realist than a visionary. I'd agree. You find it easy to empathize with a person who has gone through something you never have. Yeah, I'd agree, loosely agree. I think, no, do you know what, I'll go middle agree. If someone's going through a hard time, I can definitely empathize with them. The first thing I'd try and do is make them laugh and try and diffuse the situation with comedy, which is not always the best move to do. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than to organized and consistent efforts. I would agree, big time. Spontaneous bursts of energy in the right thing. Sometimes I have a spur of thinking I want to do this, and I'll just work on that for the rest of the day. Your emotions control you more than you control them. I would disagree. I can control my emotions easily. I'd actually strongly disagree. Well, middle ground disagree. After a long and exhausting week, a fun party is what you need. Loosely disagree. Sometimes yes, but most of the time I just want to chill out and relax. You frequently find yourself wondering how technological advancement could change everyday life. Yes, every single day I'm thinking this. How have we not invented something that does this easier yet? You always consider how your actions might affect other people before doing something. Every single day, strongly agree. You still honour the commitments you have made, even if you have a change of heart. No, I'm not ashamed. If I've made a mistake and I've been wrong about something, I'm more than happy. Actually, I'll go strong disagree. I'm more than happy to then be like, look, I made a boo-boo, I thought wrong, I apologise. Judge me all you want, but I've changed my mind. You're within your right to have an opinion, to then do more research into that thing and then completely change your judgment and mindset on something. You're going to get judged probably, yes, but you know, that will soon change because your mindset's changed. Anyway, you rarely feel insecure. I disagree. Sometimes I do get, I'm much more so now, I'm less insecure, but I still have my insecurities like everyone does in life. Okay, here we go. Right, your personality type is mediator. INFPT, whatever that means, and a picture of a lady holding a flower with butterflies around her. Okay, so mind. This trait determines how we interact with our environment. So I'm 69% introverted, which, do you know what, I'll agree with. Definitely more introverted than extroverted. On camera, I'm very much extroverted, but in real life, I'm a lot more introverted. A lot of you will know if you've met me at stage door or you've met me in real life, I do come across a bit more shy, and that's just how I am. Energy, this trait shows where we direct our mental energy. I'm intuitive, 77%. than observant, 23%. I don't know if I agree with that. Maybe, I guess. I mean, it's not wrong, this thing. Nature. This trait determines how we make decisions and cope with emotions. 29% thinking, 71% feeling. Okay. I feel things rather than think it. Yeah, I guess. Tactics. This trait reflects our approach to work, planning, and decision making. I'm 32% judging, 68% prospecting. What does prospecting mean? I don't know. What does that mean, guys? Let me know in the comments below what sort of person this makes me. This trait underpins all others, showing how confident we are in our abilities and decisions identity. I'm 47% assertive and 53% turbulent. I'm pretty much on the fence there. I'm a diplomat. This is your role. It determines your goals, interests, and preferred activities. Okay, so I'm diplomatic. My strategy is constant improvement. The mediator personalities are true idealists, always looking for the hint of good in even the worst of people and events. I agree, true. Searching for ways to make things better. While they may be perceived as calm, reserved, or even shy, mediators have an inner flame and passion that can truly shine. Comprising just 4% of the population. I'm rare! That's a mate of the world, or what? Oh my god, that wasp is huge. That wasp back. That's a hornet. Jesus. That's insane. I'm 4%. I'm a rare human being. Comprising of just 4% of the population, the risk of feeling misunderstood is unfortunately high for the mediator personality type. I should have continued reading, damn it. But when they find like-minded people who spend their time with, the harmony they feel will be a fountain of joy and inspiration. Being part of the diplomat role group, mediators are guided by their principles rather than by their logic. Excitement, explorers, or I'm definitely explorer, or practically sentinels. When deciding how to move forward, they will look to honor, beauty, morality, and virtue. Mediators are led by the purity of their intent, not rewards and punishments. People who share the mediator personality type are proud of this quality, and rightly so. But not everyone understands the drive behind these feelings, and it can lead to isolation. Agree. And then J.R.R. Tolkien, I'm guessing he was a mediator. All that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. Okay, thanks J.R.R. Tolkien. We know what we are, but know not what we may be. At their best, these qualities enable mediators to communicate deeply with others, easily speaking in metaphors and parables, and understanding and creating symbols to share their ideas. Fantasy worlds in particular fascinate mediators. Yes, they do. Obviously, growing up, love things like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, The Labyrinth, like anything fantasy based, like another world, the idea of being creative, I love. More than any other personality type, the strength of their visionary communication style lends itself to creative works, and it comes as no surprise that many famous mediators are poets, writers, and actors. Maybe I'm destined to be an actor now. Understanding themselves in their place in the world is important to mediators, and they explore these ideas by projecting themselves onto their work. This is true in the sense of, like, sometimes I come up with ideas and I share them with people, and I can tell, I can see it in their face. They don't see it how I see it. I'm like, this has potential to be so big, and there's a whole other world, create this thing, and they just don't see it. I can tell they don't see it. They're like, yeah, great. I'm like, no, but this is different. Like, the way I see it, this is really cool. Mediators have a talent for self-expression, revealing their beauty and their secrets through metaphors and fictional characters. Mediators' ability with language doesn't stop with their native tongue either. As with most people who share the diplomat personality types, they're considered gifted when it comes to learning second or third language. Oh, merci beaucoup. Their gift for communication also lends itself well to mediators' desire for harmony, a recurring theme with diplomats, and helps them to move forward as they find their calling. Listen to many people but talk to a few. Unlike their extroverted cousins though, mediators will focus their attention on just a few people, a single worthy cause. Spread too thinly, they run out of energy and even become dejected and overwhelmed by all the bad in the world they can't fix. This is a sad sight for mediators' friends who will come to depend on their rosy outlook. Very true! If they're not careful, mediators can lose themselves in their quest for good and neglect the day-to-day upkeep that life demands. Mediators often drift into deep thought, enjoying contemplating the hypothetical and philosophical more than any other personality type. Left unchecked, mediators start to lose touch, withdrawing into hermit mode, and it can take a great deal of energy from their friends or partners to bring them back into the real world. Yes, this is me! Luckily, like the flowers in spring, mediators' affection, creativity, and idealism will always come back, rewarding them with those they love, perhaps not with logic and utility, but with a worldview that inspires compassion, kindness, beauty wherever they go. Let's find out my strengths and weaknesses. Idealistic. seek and value harmony, open-minded and flexible, very creative, passionate and energetic, dedicated and hardworking. I mean, this is the best thing that I've ever wanted to read in my life. What are my weaknesses? Too idealistic. Yes, I can sometimes get too over the top. But then why shouldn't you dream big and think big? Too altruistic. Mediators often sometimes see themselves as selfish, but only because they want to give so much more that they're able to. Yeah, I guess. Impractical. Yeah. Dislike dealing with data. Can't stand it. I hate data and analytics. As you know, on YouTube, we can see all the back end of our channels and things like Social Blade and all these websites where they track your data and stuff. I've never once looked into it. We used to have these catch-ups like once a month or like every quarter with like YouTube, so they go through and show you all your like where you are on track and all this kind of thing in your data. And I'd be like, I don't want to see it. Like I want to be just concentrating on the creative stuff and making things. I don't want to look back and see what performed well and what didn't perform well. For me, I've done it, I've made it, it's out there. There's no point dwelling on it. Move on, next thing, keep thinking, new ideas. Take things personally, yes, I do. I'm difficult to get to know, yes, I guess. Romantic relationships. Oh. Mediators are dreamy realists, dreamy idealists, and in the pursuit of a perfect relationship, this quality shows strongest. Never short on imagination, mediators dream of the perfect relationship, forming an image of this pedestaled ideal that is a soulmate, playing and replaying scenarios in their heads of how things will be. This is a role that no person can hope to fill, and people with the mediator personality type will need to recognize that nobody's perfect and that relationships don't just magically fall into place. They take compromise, understanding, and effort. That's very true. Although I did wait. I mean, I've never had a girl before Diane. I've never had a girlfriend, and I knew that it would take someone very, very special for me to become like, do you know what I mean? Like linked in that way on a daily basis of being with someone and committed to one person. So yeah, I just waited. Patience is a virtue. Good things come to those who wait. Love all, trust a few, and do no wrong. Fortunately, these qualities mediators are well known for, and while it can be a challenge to separate long-fostered fantasy from reality, mediators' tendency to focus their attention on just a few people in their lives means that they will approach new relationships wholeheartedly with a sense of inherent value, dedication, and trust. But mediators aren't necessarily in a rush to commit. They are, after all, prospecting types, and are most always looking to either establish a new relationship or improve an existing one. They need to be sure they found someone compatible in dating. This is what I just tried to explain. Mediators will often start a flurry of comparisons, exploring all the ways the current flame matches with the ideal they've imagined. This progression can be a challenge for a new partner, as not everyone is able to keep up with the mediator's rich imagination and moral standards. If incompatibilities and conflicts over its initial rush, the relationship can end quickly, with mediators likely sighing it wasn't meant to be. Well, Diane, it's nearly been a year, so you've made it. Well done, congrats. Love you. As a relationship takes hold, people with the mediator personality type will show themselves to be passionate, hopeless romantics while still respecting their partner's independence. Mediators take the time to understand those they care about, while at the same time helping them to learn, grow, and change. While mediators are well-meaning, not everyone appreciates what can come across as constantly being told that they need to improve, or put another way, they are not good enough. We would be aghast to find that their intents were interpreted this way, but it's a real risk, and if their partner is as averse to conflict as mediators themselves, it can boil under the surface for some time before surfacing too late to fix. Better 3 hours too soon than a minute too late. Then we've got friendships, parenthood, career paths. We've got to have a conclusion. Let's go to conclusion. So in conclusion, with my personality type, which is the mediator, few personality types are as poetic and kind-hearted as the mediators. Yes! Altruism and vivid imagination allows mediators to overcome many obstacles, more often than not brightening their lives of those around them. Mediators' creativity is invaluable in many areas, including their own personal growth. Yet mediators can be easily tripped up in areas where idealism and altruism is more of a liability than an asset. Whether it's finding or keeping a partner, making friends, reaching a dazzling heights of the career ladder, or planning for the future, mediators need to put a conscious effort to develop the weaker traits and additional skills. Right, so there we go. That is my personality type. I'm going to search now on the internet and try and find if there's any other famous mediators and see who I'm most like in terms of a celebrity. Okay, so William Shakespeare, George Orwell, J.R.R. Tolkien, who wrote Lord of the Rings, Edgar Allan Poe, C.S. Lewis, a lot of authors. A.A. Milne, who did Winnie the Pooh. Artists, Vincent van Gogh, Andy Warhol, Helen Keller. Musicians, John Mayer, Chris Martin, Bob Marley, Carlos Santana, who else? Lenny Kravitz. Athletes, Derek Jeter, famous baseball player. Actors, Tom Hiddleston. Oh, I'm like Tom Hiddleston. Me and Tom Hiddleston would be great mates. Jude Law, Nicolas Cage, Johnny Depp, Marlon Brando, Hugh Laurie, Richard Gere, Tim Burton, Lisa Kudrow, Phoebe from Friends, Gary Oldman, Andrew Garfield, fictional characters. Frodo Baggins. I'm like Frodo Baggins, apparently. According to this, I'm like Frodo Baggins. Sweet. And Kermit the Frog. It all makes sense. Carl Fredricksen from Up. The old man from Up. Me and the old man from Up, we're basically the same people. I always knew it. How are we working this out from like fictional characters? Romeo from Romeo and Juliet. So I'm basically like Romeo from Romeo and Juliet. I'll take that. And there you go. So that was it. That was me discovering my personality type. I hope now you got to know a little bit more about me and what I'm like as a person in real life. If you enjoyed it, and want to give it a go yourself, I'll leave a link down below to where I worked it out. Let me know what your personality type is. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you again very soon with another one. Cheers, goodbye.